She's in love with the devil, she's in love with Lucifer. This is her revenge for all the years.
How y'all are? I'm glad that you could see me today, I guarantee. Today is Sunday, August 11th, 2019. How are we doing today? How are we doing tonight? Wherever you are in this great big world, I hope you're doing alright. And let's talk. Today's subject matter is going to be kind of grim. But this is something that's been on my mind for about almost 2 years now. Year and a half maybe, I don't know. But almost 2 years. And it's kind of funny because I know that there's literature of it. I'm pretty sure there is. I don't know any of the names of these books, but I'm pretty sure there's literature. But as far as movie-wise, you know, perhaps video game-wise even, how come we don't see witches, wizards, sorcerers, and post-apocalyptic action movies? And that's been bugging me for a very long time. Because I am a connoisseur of post-apocalyptic action movies. Y'all know that. Mad Max being one of them. You know, I like some of the copycat clones, like Steel Dawn with Patrick Swayze and Brian James. Shit, take your pick. The 80s was alive with copycats. But we never really saw witches or wizards or what have you. We always see them in fantasy, medieval type movies. Like Conan and Lord of the Rings and The Hobbit and all that shit. But we never see them in post-apocalyptic movies. Why? My theory is that 8 out of 10, the post-apocalyptic movies all deal with nuclear war. Now, granted, there's some with asteroids and such, but 8 out of 5, it's always nuclear war. Now, if you've watched the movie The Day After, about Kansas City being destroyed in a nuclear war in 1980s, you know, you get that sense of, damn, I feel sad. But then if you watch the BBC's Threads about England being destroyed in a nuclear war in the 1980s, then you're like, wow, Threads makes The Day After look like an episode of Sesame Street. Which is true. Which is true, because Threads is a docu-movie special, and I don't know if you could still find it on YouTube or not. But if I do find the full movie on YouTube, I'll link it in the description. I know you can find The Day After. I know you can. But watching those movies, especially Threads, which goes deep from 1984 to like 1990 something, and you just get that sense of there's no hope. And maybe that's why we don't see witches and wizards and sorcerers and all that in these movies, because they want to keep some basis of realism, which is kind of odd given the fact that these are action movies. Now, when we deal with movies like Threads and The Day After, one of the biggest things that pretty much fucks everything up is radiation. Everything's been contaminated. You know, the soil, any food stocks, water, you know. I'm not saying everything is, but everything out on the surface, basically, has been contaminated. So you would have to have, if you were to, say, advance in the future, what would a witch or sorcerer be doing in these movies? Would they be using their magic to find clean food and water? Would they be... well, I can tell you right now, actually, one of the biggest things would be protection. Protection from other people. Looters, crazy people. You know, that'd be one of the bigger things. Would be protection. Now, since this would be a witch or a sorcerer or whatnot, this would obviously be a fantasy or action movie. But at the same time, again, the question is, what would they be doing? Since most of the stuff would be erased, you know, logic and reason would be forgotten, because there's no education, there's no schools anymore. As the future progresses on and civilization trying to come back from it, it would be basic medieval level. You know, that's one of the things I like about Threads, is that 13 years after the war, which puts the movie at 1990 something, children of that era, born after, they have no sense of education. They have broken English. You know, they don't know what words are, or what words mean. They just hear what their parents or other people say, if they talk at all. So, let alone having witches and wizards and sorcerers and all that carrying on the arcane arts. You know, you'd have to have one that takes on an apprentice and teaches them. But like I said, what would they be doing? Finding food and water that's safe enough to eat and drink? And protection's a given, you know. But that's just my thoughts. like I said, I know you see this in literature with all the dystopian books out there right now, mostly aimed at the kids. Not necessarily, devastation to the world, but, like zombies and all that shit. But, yeah, this has just been my little thought. Let me know what you think, because I would love to hear what you have to think about the subject. And if you know of a movie that takes place in a post-apocalypse with witches and sorcerers, let me know. I'd like to hear this, because for almost 2 years I can't really come up with anything that's not medieval or medieval fantasy, is what I should be saying. But if you can come up with one, let me know. I'm not going to say books, just movies, because I have a long list of books to read anyway, so we're just going to keep it to movies. Because I know most movies about witches and wizards and sorcerers usually take place in the medieval fantasy or the modern day, like Vin Diesel's The Last Witch Hunter, or whatever that movie was called, which, you've seen one Vin Diesel movie, you've seen them all. So, that being said, let me know what you think. I'd love to hear it. If you have a movie, please let me know. And I want to thank you all for watching. Thank you all for listening. If you have any questions, comments, or concerns, please feel free to leave them in the comment section down below. If you want to come find me on social media, my links are in the description. Be sure to hit that bell icon to stay informed. And I love you all.